They told me, when Dina blindfolded me outside the cabin, that it was just a little birthday fun. That sweet, light-hearted voice that always sounded like love, but always had a bite to it. "Trust us," she said. She wasn't wrong. I can still hear the sound of the duct tape stretching, that sharp, sticky sound right before it tears. I chuckled. "You'll never forget this," Jules slurred, drunk on too much cheap liquor. I remember that roll being loud and heavy. We were all giggling. The cold tape touched my wrists, and the bark of the tree dug into my back. It was a rough night. For the birthday boy. I remember thinking, okay, maybe this is a little over the top, as they pushed me harder into the trunk. But the laughter? It faded, and I thought, they'll laugh, untie me in 10 minutes, hand me a beer, and I'll be the punchline. But then the engine started, the music thumped, tires spun in gravel, footsteps crunched away on dry pine needles. At first, I thought the silence was part of the joke, another beat in their long-running farce about me, the reliable one, the good sport, the guy who never complained, not when Den's father Raymond talked down to me, not when her mother Frances called me her handyman husband at the country club brunches, the guy who smiled through it, the guy who let her friends talk over him. Never with him, but I stayed. I showed up. I married the rebellious girl who wore trouble like perfume and said I grounded her. But really, she degraded me. And now there I was, duct-taped to a tree on my 34th birthday. Happy birthday, Micah. I twisted against the tape for what felt like hours, rubbed my face against the bark. The tape sliced into my skin. The blindfold slipped. Sunset had begun, shadows stretching across gold-streaked trees, and suddenly, it hit me. They weren't coming back. I tried to shout, but my mouth was dry. I only managed to croak, half expecting them to pop out of the bushes, laughing with a camera and glitter, but no one came. I struggled harder. The dusk buzzed around me. Trees groaned in the wind. Then, something snapped inside me. I yanked my wrist, scraped skin, growled, clenched my teeth. The rope loosened, just enough. I pulled until it slipped halfway over my hand. It took 30 minutes, ripping my shirt at the shoulder, clumsy and desperate. No elegance in survival, just instinct. When I finally pulled off the blindfold, I blinked into a maze of rough pine. No trail, no markers, no wallet, no phone, no watch. I made a small, bitter laugh. Maybe they thought humiliating me like that, in the middle of nowhere, would make them feel better. Maybe they stumbled back into town, toasted each other, and felt proud. But here's the thing. When you're left like that, something changes in you. I didn't follow a map. I just walked. Let the land slope downward, hoping I'd find water. A path. Something. I kept going until the trees grew too thick. Had to sit. And then the real horror crept in. What if I was injured? What if a bear came? What if I died like this, forgotten, duct-taped to a tree over a stupid birthday joke? That panicked voice in my head? The one I'd silenced for years? It whispered something new. They don't deserve your name, your face, your grief. So I stood up. Hours blurred. Branches snapped underfoot. Eventually, I found a creek. Followed it. Cold breath fogging in front of me. Fingers raw, dirty, and then, through the trees, a ranger outpost. Abandoned, half-rotted. I collapsed on the porch. When I came to, a flashlight was in my face. A voice, gruff and surprised. "Hey, hey, you still alive?" I nodded. He had a thick beard, military flannel, boots like stone. He helped me up, took me inside, handed me a can of warm beans. When he asked for my name, I lied. Jonah. He didn't question it, just nodded, tossed me a wool blanket. I sat by the stove, terrified, numb. Saying that name out loud felt strange, empty, but freeing. "You're lucky," he said. "Name's Marlin. I check this place every couple weeks." He made coffee, said I could stay a while. I believed him. That night, he slept in the back room, and I stared at the cabin walls, thinking about the people I'd left behind, the ones who laughed as they drove away. That night, I stopped thinking about Micah Ward, and in the days that followed, I didn't say much, because he wasn't important anymore. Arland. He wasn't the kind of man who needed stories to make you real. He just watched, listened, made time feel slower. I slept in the corner, space heater humming like a distant generator, kept dreaming the same thing, me laughing, and my own headlights disappearing into the forest. Every time I woke up, I heard a stranger's name in my head, and instead of fear, I felt cold. I wasn't that man anymore, and my own skin didn't quite fit. On the fourth morning, my hands were still raw, but I tried to cut firewood. He asked if I'd ever used an axe. I hadn't, not since summer camp. He threw me gloves, showed me how to use the weight of the axe, not fight it. I was terrible at first, but I got better. That night, eating reheated chili, Arlen said, "You're running from something." I looked up, but stayed quiet. He nodded. "That's okay. Everyone out here is. I ran from war. This cabin, this mountain, they're my penance." Then he smiled. "Ain't no back for me." I envied that, how easy it sounded for him. But I wasn't ready to say it, not even her name. Denica, not out loud, not when it tasted like ash. So I stayed, worked, learned to hunt, skin rabbits, patch roofs, split wood. He handed me old books. Survival guides, war journals, even business books. One day, as I fixed a wall, he looked at me and said, "You've got hands to run a supply chain company in Detroit. But more than that, you've got eyes that see too far ahead. You're going to do more than just survive." I didn't respond, but I felt something shift. After 2 weeks, I started mapping trails, fixed a compass. I wasn't trying to go back. I was trying to go forward. I wasn't ready to be found. Not like that. Not as the ghost of the man left behind, and late in the 3rd week I finally asked, "Arland, if someone really wanted to disappear, how would they do it?" He leaned back, sipped his coffee, and said, "You don't just disappear and get replaced. The man you were, he has to die, and you build the new one from the ground up. But you can't let the old one slip through." I nodded. "Let that truth settle deep. You breathe a new name, wear a new face. You ever done that?" I asked. He just smiled, slow and crooked. The next day, I started calling myself Jonah. At first, just to the mirror. But it stuck. I carved it on the axe handle. It wasn't just a name. It was a wall. Jonah Roar was a survivor. And Micah, he was gone.